You did it today, probably before lunch. In fact, statistically, you did it somewhere between 14 and 20 times in the last 24 hours, and you're going to do it a few more times before you finish this video. Yeah, I'm talking about farting. Now, before you pretend you're above this you, the person who never farts, I want you to know that everybody in this comment section is lying, including you, and by the end of the next 20 minutes, you're going to understand exactly what's happening inside you, why some farts sneak out like a whisper, and others could evacuate a small building, and my personal favorite, the one food that is quietly the worst offender on Earth. It's not the one you're thinking of. Well, it might be. We'll get there. Buckle up. This is going to get weirdly beautiful. Okay. First, the reveal that ruins the mystery. A fart is just gas. That's it. Gas that built up somewhere in your digestive tract and eventually decided it had somewhere better to be. But here's the part nobody tells you, that gas comes from two completely different places, and they are nothing alike. Source number 1. Air you swallowed. Every time you eat, drink, talk with your mouth full, chew gum, gulp a fizzy drink, or eat like you're being timed, you swallow air. Nitrogen, oxygen, a little bit of everything in the room. Most of that comes back up as a burp, like a gentleman, but some of it survives the journey south. That's the boring gas. Hold that thought. Source number 2, and this is where it gets good, is fermentation. Your large intestine is basically a warm, dark, wildly crowded fermentation tank. And living inside it are trillions with a T of bacteria. We call them your gut microbiome, which is a fancy way of saying the tiny civilization that lives in your colon and does your dirty work. When you eat food that your own body can't fully digest, certain fibers, certain sugars, certain starches, it slides all the way down to that bacterial city untouched. And the bacteria throw a party. They eat it, they ferment it, and like literally every fermentation process on the planet, beer, bread, cheese, kombucha, the byproduct is gas. So here's the truth I want tattooed on your brain. Most of your farts are not really made by you. They're made by the little guys. You're just the delivery vehicle. You're an Uber for bacteria exhaust, which raises the obvious question. If it's mostly just gas from bacteria eating fiber, why does some of it smell like a crime scene? Patience. We're building to it. A fart is not one thing. It's a blend, a recipe. And the recipe is mostly made of 5 gases, so let me introduce the lineup. Nitrogen, the bouncer. Usually the biggest component, especially from swallowed air, completely odorless, does nothing exciting, just takes up space. Oxygen, also swallowed, also odorless, also boring. Moving on. Carbon dioxide, made both by your body and by the bacterial party downstairs. Odorless. It's the same stuff that makes soda fizzy, which, fun fact, is part of why fizzy drinks give you more to work with later. Hydrogen. Now we're cooking. Produced by the bacteria during fermentation. Odorless, but remember hydrogen, because it's about to matter for reasons that involve fire. Yes, fire. I'll explain. Don't do anything yet. And methane. Also from bacteria. Also say it with me, odorless. Did you catch that? Every single major gas in a fart is odorless. Here's the plot twist that blows people's minds. Roughly 99% of the volume of an average fart, the whole loud dramatic event, is completely odorless. The nitrogen, the CO2, the hydrogen, the methane. If that were all there was, farting would be a totally silent, scentless non-issue, and this would be a very short video. So the entire reputation of the fart, the shame, the open windows, the blaming, the dog, all of that comes down to the final 1%. Let's meet the 1%. The smell of a fart comes down almost entirely to one element, sulfur. And specifically, a handful of sulfur-containing compounds your bacteria produce when they break down certain foods. The main villain is a gas called hydrogen sulfide, the exact same compound that makes rotten eggs smell like rotten eggs. There's also methanethiol, which is described by scientists, and I promise I'm not making this up, as smelling like rotting cabbage. And dimethyl sulfide, which is the sweet-ish garbagey note. Mix those 3 in different ratios, and you get the entire terrifying range of human fart smells. Your nose can detect hydrogen sulfide at concentrations of parts per billion. Your nose is a suspiciously sensitive sulfur detector, which honestly feels like a design choice we should file a complaint about. So now the real question sharpens up. If the smell is sulfur, and the sulfur comes from food, then the smell of your farts is basically a report card on what you ate. And some foods are absolutely loaded with sulfur. Which brings us to the section you've been waiting for. All right. Let's talk about why one fart is a gentle breeze and the next one makes you question your life choices. There are basically 3 dials being turned: volume, smell, and your own personal bacteria. Let's turn them. Want a worse smelling fart? Feed your bacteria more sulfur. And the champions of sulfur are eggs, obviously. It's rotten egg gas. The branding writes itself. Meat, especially red meat protein, is full of sulfur-containing amino acids. Cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, and the undisputed heavyweight Brussels sprouts. Healthy, incredibly. Devastating, also incredibly. Garlic and onions. And dairy, for a lot of people, but that's a special case we'll hit in a second. So yes, the cruel irony of the universe is that some of the healthiest foods on Earth are the ones that turn you into a biohazard. Your salad is trying to kill the room. It's fine. It's worth it. Keep eating the sprouts. You knew this was coming. Beans. The musical fruit. The more you eat, the more you know the rhyme. I'm not saying it. I'm a professional. But why beans? Here's the actual reason, and it's great. Beans contain sugars called oligosaccharides. The big one is named raffinose, and here's the kicker. Your body does not make the enzyme required to break them down. You physically cannot digest them. Zero. Nothing. So they cruise all the way down, fully intact, and arrive at the bacterial city like an all-you-can-eat buffet delivery. The bacteria go absolutely feral, and they produce a lot of gas, mostly hydrogen and CO2. That's volume, not necessarily smell. Beans make you loud. That's the beans. Here's the part that explains why you and your friend can eat the exact same burrito and have completely different evenings. Everyone's gut bacteria are unique as a fingerprint, and people carry different teams of microbes. Some people's guts are dominated by bacteria that pump out hydrogen. Other people host a special crew called methanogens bacteria that actually eat the hydrogen and turn it into methane. Why does that matter? Because those methane makers are basically running a cleanup crew that reduces the raw gas volume, but methane changes how everything moves through your system, and it changes the density of what comes out. Ever notice some people's farts float, some sink, some are silent assassins? A big chunk of that is which bacterial team won the colonization war inside them. And then there's the special case I promised, lactose intolerance. About 2/3 of adults worldwide lose the ability to fully digest lactose, the sugar in milk, after childhood. If you're one of them, dairy sails past undigested, hits the bacteria, and you already know the rest. That's not a moral failing, that's the global default setting. The people who can drink milk with no issues are, genetically, kind of the weird ones. So, your food sets the fuel, your bacteria set the recipe, and the two of them together decide whether you produce a polite little sigh or a war crime. Which finally lets us answer the mechanical question everybody actually wonders about. Why are some farts loud and some are silent but, and I say this with love, deadly? It's physics. Genuinely. It's the same physics as a musical instrument. The sound is made at the exit by gas passing through a tight opening your ahem sphincter and making the surrounding tissue vibrate. 3 things decide the volume. 1, speed. More pressure, faster gas, more vibration, louder result. A fart that's been held builds pressure. That's why the ones you desperately clamp down on in a meeting come out sounding like a foghorn the second you relax. 2, the tightness of the opening. Tighter aperture, higher pitched, and often louder. Relaxed and open, silent. Which is the cruel twist. The loud ones are often mostly that harmless, odorless gas moving fast, while the silent ones tend to seep out slowly, giving all that concentrated sulfur time to just hang in the air and mingle. That's the whole silent but deadly phenomenon. It's not a myth. It's aerodynamics plus chemistry teaming up against everyone in the room. 3, how much gas. Big volume, more sound to work with. Beans, again, making themselves known. So the loudest fart and the worst smelling fart are frequently not the same fart. Nature separated the alarm from the actual danger. Rude. Okay, you made it this far, so you've earned the good trivia. Rapid fire. What happens if I hold it in? Great question, you monster. The gas doesn't vanish. Some of it gets reabsorbed into your bloodstream, travels up to your lungs, and I need you to sit down for this, you breathe it out. That's right. Hold in a fart and you will, eventually, quite literally exhale it. There is no winning. There is only when. Are farts flammable? Remember hydrogen and methane? Both flammable. So yes, in theory, farts can be lit. In practice, please do not do this. This is the one part of the video where I'm being a responsible adult. People burn themselves doing this badly, and it is not worth becoming a cautionary tag on a hospital form. Know that it's possible. Do nothing with that knowledge. Do my own farts smell worse to me or to other people? Other people. Almost always other people. You've been marinating in your personal microbiome your whole life, so your brain has quietly turned down the volume on your own signature scent. It's familiar, so it registers as less offensive. To everyone else, it's a brand new horror. This is why nobody minds their own and everybody minds yours. Can you fart in space? You can, and astronauts have to be careful because in the closed loop of a spacecraft, there's nowhere for it to go. And remember, those gases are flammable in an oxygen-rich environment. So there's genuine engineering thought that has gone into space farts. Someone has that on their resume. Do dead bodies fart? Yes. After death, the bacteria are still there and still producing gas for a while, so bodies can release gas and make sounds. I'm telling you this because you'll never forget it, and now, neither will the algorithm. Quick, real talk, because I actually care about you between the fart jokes. Farting 14 to 20 times a day? Completely normal. Healthy, even it often means you're eating fiber and feeding a happy gut. A little gas is a sign the machine is running, but if things suddenly change, a big jump in gas out of nowhere, farts paired with real pain, bloating that won't quit, blood, unexplained weight changes, or anything that just feels off for you that's not a tough it out situation, that's a mention it to a doctor situation. Gas is usually the punchline. Occasionally it's a messenger. If your body's message changes suddenly, it's worth having someone qualified read the mail. That's it. Sincerity over. Now, I promised you the single worst offender, the final boss. If you want the loudest and worst smelling fart humanly achievable, the food that hits the volume dial and the sulfur dial at the same time, it's not just beans and it's not just eggs, it's Brussels sprouts. High in the fibers that make bacteria produce serious volume, and absolutely stuffed with sulfur compounds for the smell. It's the double threat. It's the one that does both jobs at once. The vegetable your mom made you eat has been the final boss the entire time. So here's where we land. You are a warm, walking fermentation tank, home to trillions of tiny tenants who eat your leftovers and pay rent and gas. Most of it is silent and scentless. 1% of it is chemical warfare. And every single fart is, quietly, a status report on what you ate and who's living inside you. It's not gross. It's biology showing its work. If you learned something, or if you're now aggressively rethinking that side of Brussels sprouts, hit like, and drop in the comments the food that personally ruins your life. No judgment. We're all fermentation tanks here. And if you want to know why your stomach makes those other mysterious noises, the growls, the gurgles, the ones at 3 a.m., that's the next video. I'll see you there.